A very good evening here in Kigali, Rwanda. A nice weekend, nice weather. We're here at the Niche 2025 on our YouTube channel and X, and also on our Facebook page. Visit, like, share, subscribe. We are hosted today by the Unipods at the University of Rwanda College of Science and Technology. For the second time, we're here to showcase the youth in innovation. So as Rwandan government has been putting forward ICT and innovation in different technologies within its policies and setting up different innovation hubs. This is actually a partnership with the UN Unipod, which is hosted here in the URCST, which used to be the former KIST, as some of you who are here with us, with some of the older buds like me. And we're here with the youth, the young innovators, both those who have graduated and come back to motivate their younger brothers and sisters. And we are also going to have time to showcase some of the innovations from within the campus itself. So I'm here with Philbert. I will let him introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is Philbert. A simple introduction is I'm a Chief Technology Officer at Innorios and also currently serving as a CEO of ELearning. At Innorios, we are providing virtual tour services to businesses where they can be able to showcase their business locations in a more immersive way compared to the past existing way. Instead of just looking into 30 photos, now you can have an immersive experience of the press just in the real time, and like looking at the actual press. And with Yeri Labs, we are building AI models for Kinyarwanda, and we are currently working on Alta model, which is going to be mainly serving Kinyarwanda, and we are working hard to bring it to people to start using it.
Great. So a real demonstration of what our youth in Rwanda can do, the made in Rwanda technology. So these are locally founded companies, startups?
Yes.
That are, I understand one is working with the virtual reality technologies.
Yes.
And the other one is localizing the language models like Kinyarwanda. Yes. For African contextualization, which is Innorios.
Yes.
So, sorry, ELearning Labs. So let's first go with the virtual reality.
Yes.
How did you come up with this innovation, and what inspired you?
Yeah, it was around 2020, was in COVID time, and it was a time like we didn't see like that kind of movement because of staying at home. And a colleague of mine, who is also a co-founder, he approached me. I remember it was in the COVID time, as I said, and we thought of coming of something more, like something which is going to be innovating, but also making it possible for people to start keeping, like to have that kind of experience of different businesses. And in that time, it was we came up with this solution of providing virtual tour services to businesses, mostly in hospitality, because the engagement with people was somehow reducing, and even the trust itself. As Rwanda needed to stand out in the market of hospitality and even MICE itself, they needed to be sure, like, we need to have trust in what I'm looking for example, if it's a hotel room, how I'm going to be sure, like, what I'm looking at the photos, or what are they telling me, it's actually what I'm going to be experiencing in the hotel. And that's when we brought up this kind of idea, and let's make it simple, using technology. Mainly in that time, one of the booming technology was virtual reality, and one of the creative way we thought, like, let's make it simple. be easier to be accessible on phone or laptop, because virtual reality technology itself, it sometimes requires some specific goggles to be able to have that kind of experience. But in Africa, we wanted something which works for us. So the adoption of internet itself and smartphone adoption, it was on the rise, because of later we saw some campaigns from Airtel, MTN, just to make sure everyone can be able to have a smartphone. And that's when one of the things which motivated us, because we knew government was putting some incentives in terms of making technology itself available to the locals. And also it was for the hotels and other businesses, it was easier for them to target foreigners who are coming inward.
So you have booked a hotel somewhere, or you want to visit a certain place, but you want to see the 3D dimension of it.
Yes.
Like you are actually there, but virtually. So this is what virtual reality is all about, and it is something that is a value addition to our hotel industry, MICE,
yes,
tourism, and entertainment and other sectors.
Yes.
So just to expand more on the targeted use cases,
yes,
or opportunities that you see within this technology.
I'm going to give 2 use cases we have currently. So with even the businesses we're working with right now, I'm going to start with hospitality. For example, you could be having an event press. You could be having a conference room, for example, for a hotel. Instead of just every time people coming on the hotel, just to make sure they're visiting, just showcasing them, this is a conference hall, this is how you can set it up, you can be able to accommodate this amount of people. Instead, why can't we make it easily accessible? And people can virtually visit, for example, the conference hall and be able to see how it looks like, and they can start planning from there, and even they can even book it from there. There are some kind of testimonies I have received from some of our clients. I have a friend of mine. He was preparing one of the event in Kigali, and she told me I was looking for a place to. I was the one who was tasked with to find the event place, where the event will be taking place. And when I was reaching out to Marriott, because Marriott is one of our main customer, and they shared with him the virtual tour, and she saw the conference hall, and she booked from there, and even started planning from there. And they went on the conference hall just to bring the needed equipment for setting up. On the Marriott side, it reduced the time they could have spent just trying to convince them. So the client could say they could even say we want something smaller from this. Is there any perspective you could be sharing with us? Instead of just telling them, let's go upstairs, they need to share with them, and you just telling them you can look at this, instead of just going through the whole hotel. So
you show your VIP section, the different locations without necessarily bringing the customer on ground to
yes.
check. I'm thinking of more areas of interest,
yes.
all websites, whether it should be schools or other areas of interest. If I want to take my child to a certain school, then I should visit the website of that school and be able to view the boarding facilities
yes.
within that school.
Yeah.
Maybe at an extra fee, because it's a business, value addition. So you could also think of entertainment, gaming, all those are, I think you're in the right, you're an early bird. Do you think you're an early bird in the sector? Or there are more entrepreneurs in this space?
Yeah, one of the things we experienced in the first time when we started, there was one company which was actually doing the same, but it is because the technology adoption itself, it was something new, hard to convince people. So we had to endure. I remember we had to spend almost like 2 years without making money. I remember it. And the other guy, like the other company which was doing the same, they were also struggling. So we have, for us, he was like, the patience for him was running out, but for us, we felt like, let's keep enduring it. At some time, we know the technology itself is being adopted within the whole country itself, and we felt like it's like betting, feeling like the time will be right and we'll be getting to clients and they're still like, this is the thing we needed. And I remember there was one hotel we approached and they said like, we have been looking for someone who could provide this service and we couldn't find one. And we are happy like you came to ours. There was some kind of need, but for some they didn't know like whom to approach. So we have seen this with some of our clients saying like, you did this for this hotel, let's introduce you to another hotel so that you can do it for, to make sure like everything is becoming more accessible instead of just always people coming here. Let's make it simple for our clients to be able to have the first experience. As we pay for the photographers to come in and picture and take photos of our bedrooms and conference halls, instead let's make it more immersive. And the clients, most of the feedback I get, they are happy with it.
Welcome back to the Niche 2025, an innovation talk show that focuses on entrepreneurship, innovation in business, and also now looking at the youth in innovation with Philbert here, Philbert Murbanashaka, an early founder of in virtual reality technology, who is also bragging of a few customers that he has acquired, some big hotels that he mentioned, which are references for him. So without much further ado, could you please demonstrate to us, to our viewers, how this technology works?
Yeah, we are going to do a demonstration, and one of the demonstrations I'm going to be sharing, it will be one of the meeting room within the 4 points, and I will also be sharing one of the, I will be also helping you to visit one of the Pornographic Museum in Humi. Today I'm going to be sharing the demonstration of using one of our clients, 4 Points by Shelton Kigali, and we are going to take like one of the simple virtual tour we did for them. And as you can see, most of this virtual experience you can see here taps into most of their core business areas, like from restaurants, gym, conference, like conference boardrooms, like hotel rooms. Like it taps into most of their core business part. So we are going to do a simple virtual tour experience with 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 one of their rooms and see like how does the virtual experience looks like and what make it more uh, unique and different from other kind of experience we normally see. As you can see, I can look around the room and I can now understand like this room is made up of 2 bedrooms and with a kitchenette, a place where I can prepare coffee and tea while I'm staying at a hotel. But also I can have a clear picture of how to navigate within this room without anyone just showing me around. I can clearly know where each and everything is located. And we have a navigation system which helps like moving from one place to another. And as you can see, uh,
I'm looking at the bathroom, and here I can as you can see here, here is the bathroom, and here is a place where I can put like we have a safe where I can put something expensive, where I can store something which is expensive in a more safe environment. This clearly helps them to create the customers, create customer confidence and trust, because they actually know like what I'm booking is exactly what I'll be getting, instead of going blindly or just uh, getting to the place and you find it's not something you you thought you'd be booking. And this is we took this as an example, but this virtual experience goes around within the different services they do provide: conference hall, event places, uh, restaurants, gym, any kind of service which gonna help them to uh, this creates a more better way to attract new customers, but also create confidence to the customers they already have, or they want to acquire in a more easy way. For those who are abroad, it is more easier for them to have the first view experience of the room they are going to be booking. And people, they can make decisions from this instead of just going through 30 pictures or 40 pictures. You can have a one virtual experience of the room, and it creates within you the actual uh, reality of how the place looks like.
You mentioned the technology 360.
Yes.
You want to talk more about it?
Yeah, we knew like when we started, we needed to make this more simple and able to bring the reality to on a laptop. So we felt like we couldn't be modeling everything just to achieve this kind of realism. So that's when we saw one aspect of the virtual reality technology in that time. It was 360. It brought the massive needed, but also brought the actual realism in the work we needed to make sure like the client, our clients are gonna be able to see like this is the actual thing, instead of just saying like this thing might be modeled. How could I trust something which is 100% computer generated? So we felt like let's capture, let's work with the 360 part to bring that kind of immersive, because it is one aspect of the virtual reality technology itself, and it did work, and that's when we felt like it's bringing the needed experience to our customers, and it is not even costing in terms of resources, and it made it simpler for them to be able to access it even on a web-based, like on a web-based platforms, instead of just relying on VR goggles. So we made it so simple that it can be accessed on phones, smartphones, and even on laptops or desktops.
Okay, so there is another use case that I thought of while you were discussing about the use cases you have,
Yes.
and it's in e-learning. So how do we bring the classroom experience using this virtual reality? Since you said that it has, you've managed it such that we don't need such high cost for the VR goggles and other equipment that are needed within with a smartphone, a laptop, or whichever screen you're using, you can access it. So now, how does it play out for like such a setting where we are in the university, and you want to bring on lessons that are practical but not easily accessed physically?
Yeah, it's an exciting use case, and I think me and my team could also try to look into it. The academic sector itself, it brings more, it opens to the new doors. For example, as you said, it could be much more easier for people to tune in and try to get that kind of like experience as if they're in the class, instead of just sitting there feeling like I'm looking at at a 2D, like a professor sharing the course. Instead, I could feel like I could see the student within the class. I could have that kind of vibe and actually feel as if I'm in the class. It's something we could try out with the team and see if we can bring something exciting from that, in that kind of perspective.
Like field visits and practical lessons, which are not easily demonstrable physically.
Yeah, on that part, I could provide some example. For example, in the manufacturing sector, we see it is a sector which requires like precautions. Like when a student is learning, they are mostly told like the precautions are this, but they don't actually experience it. Like I can say like we are the youth, we are stubborn. I could say like let me turn this off and see what happens, and it could end up blowing the whole factory. So instead of just doing it in the real life, how could you do it in the safe environment? For example, working with chemicals, you don't need to get acid in your body to just understand how bad it is. But you could try to get that kind of simulation and try to understand, like, if I do this within this kind of environment, I need to take care, like, the acids are not good. So I need to take care of it because it's gonna, for example, burn my skin, or it's gonna burn through the gloves I'm wielding. We could be able to give the actual practical experience to the students within the virtual world. That's how I can say it. And it could bring that kind of practicality to the student without trying the actual work within the physical space, just to even minimize the risk for the students. For example, you could be in a manufacturing company which produces for big machines. For example, like in the Volkswagen, a wrong button could mean like a car could fall on you. So the student needs to be taught it before time. Just like this button does this, and they can, before they even get introduced to the work, to the factory itself, and they could be able to say like, I actually have that kind of knowledge I need to even operate this kind of equipment, or even work with chemicals, or even be able to manage different kind of precautions which have been set in the factory.
Okay, yeah, I see that tourism is still fetching us a lot because people want to come and see for the experience, especially in Africa.
Yeah.
Because that's where the nature is. So how do we now? Is this a sector that you could probably look at partnering with to reduce on the cost of the actual visitation? If some tourists want to experience this virtually, or is it more of like an invitation whereby it's a marketing strategy that this is the real experience you'll get when you come to Rwanda?
Yeah.
So how do you want to position that?
Yeah, to position ourselves in that kind of part, I remember, as I said, like we have done something for the Pornographic Museum, and the thing we achieved is like we brought the first impression to the users, to the clients. Instead of just totally telling people like you don't need to come in Rwanda, you can have a virtual experience, but that's not how it is. It just brings the first impression. Wow, this is an actual museum, so I need to be there. And that's the same tactics, even marketing strategy, Visit Rwanda is actually using on the Nyungwe forest. They are trying to tell people like this is how the gorilla are looking, so you can have that kind of first view experience, and you feel like it's too real for me. I need to be in Kigali and make sure like I'm going to be seeing the gorilla face to face. It is for us. We are not just competing with the tourism sector itself. We're just telling them like, market yourself in a brand new way, instead of just relying on on a 2D video which cannot bring that kind of massive experience? What if your clients can be able to have that kind of first view within those touristic places? As I said, there's some kind of different museums. Some of us, we need to tap into our history. We have different museum, genocide memorial sites, which can be able to even portray some of our history in a more immersive way. People, they could also feel like this is an interesting story. I feel like I'm within that kind of environment, but I need to be in Kigali to make sure like I'm gonna have. And they can even be say like, they can plan even before time. They could say like, I need to be at this museum because I want to have the first experience of the Rwandan culture itself. I need to be at genocide memorial because I want to understand like about the genocide in Rwanda against Tutsi. I need to be in Nyungwe just to have the first experience with the gorillas. I need to be at Akagera to have the first experience with the big fives. All those kind, it's just bringing the first impression to make sure like people they're going to be coming in Rwanda just eagerly as possible they could.
Now, I bet you were an engineer when you were starting this business.
Yeah, for sure.
But now you're talking like a seasoned marketer and business acumen. Huh? You have a lot of learnings from trying to sell that product.
Yes.
So, and this takes us to our next discussion, because you mentioned the fact that these technologies bring the reality closer to the user. And this brings us to our next session of your AI, artificial intelligence innovations within ELearning Labs.
Yes.
And do you think these kind of technologies can be combined to bring out the best in them?
That's an interesting question. I remember the first time I got interested in that time it was called machine learning. I was trying to look for solutions for the VR part. We needed to bring that kind of 3D realism in our solution. And at that time to achieve it, it was called machine learning. I needed to make sure like I start to get the first understanding of like what is machine learning. How can I benefit from this on the VR side? And because we wanted to bring also the actual 3D part, but using the actual physical places without just needing to model everything. And in that time, when I was trying to clearly understand like what is machine learning, that's when ChatGPT got to the market. And I was like, let me learn more about this. And I took one of the Stanford courses in convolutional neural network. And the more I kept learning about it, because for me I was interested on the vision part, because the technology I was working with in that time was was image-based or vision-based. So that's when I took one of the Stanford course, which was about convolutional neural network. It's one of the approach in AI, which is focusing on mostly on images and to process image and to train those models to be able to understand like the images. And for me, I wanted to see how I can bring to the solution itself. And 2 years goes by, and I felt like enough is enough. I reached out, and a friend of mine also, like the guy we co-founded together within the ELearning Labs, we were not even that kind of friends, right? He was curious. He reached out to me and said, like, I want to see this guy who made this kind of bold decision to post something on LinkedIn saying, like, I need an AI engineer with this kind of skills. And that's when we first hit the actual goal of building. There was also a plan for him saying, like, I'm an AI engineer with these kind of skills. I'm working here to bring this to. I really want to build the actual thing for Rwandans, and that's when we started. And our execution rate was like, let's build and build, make sure like we're going to bring this as soon as possible. And in that time, I think there are more exciting stories to share. I remember when we had our first meeting, the main problem was the computation power. To train these big, large language models, you needed to have two key things. Besides coding, the coding part, we needed to have computational power in terms of GPUs, but also to have the data. We lacked those both key things. Besides having the code base, which is well structured, we don't have the data to make sure like the thing we are building is actually performing the way we needed it. We didn't have the computational resources we needed, the high performing code, the high performance computing we needed for the work. So it was challenging for us, and I took a bold decision, and that's when that's when we joined the first Microsoft for Startups, and they started to provide with us some of the basic computing power resources. And later on, we were admitted to NVIDIA Inception Program, which is also for startups, and they added additional support in terms of mentorship, in terms of helping us to get the needed computing resources to one of the largest GPUs. For those who know, like we have, they helped us to get access to one of the most well-known GPU, which was one of the latest one with them. And through NVIDIA, that's when we also got to Google side. I can say like it's a trio which is actually helping us to make sure like we're gonna bring this kind of a solution to our market.
Wow, just impressive how you could get those giants to partner with you. I mean, of course, there is a general support for startups, even within the country, within the policies that the government has set up within the Ministry of ICT initiatives. Even where we're seated right now, it's an innovation hub within the University of Rwanda. So the fact that you make use of all those to your advantage, and also the bold move you made to announce that you needed an engineer, an AI engineer at that. How are you going to pay them?
Yeah, it was exciting because I said like, we said like beat in the bush and see what comes for you. And I was surprised only one person just reached out to me. And for him, he was excited, saying like, let me talk to this person because the skill set is like of the person he needs is like the entire AI department. Okay, let me reach out and try to hear like what he shares to me. And we found ourselves having rocked in on the same idea, building a solution which is gonna be serving Rwandans. And from that part, I was like, that's one of the most, I can say, craziest thing I have done just to achieve this. It's not the craziest one because I have done also the craziest thing just to make sure like we're gonna be going this far.
Beat in the bush, throw a stone in the bush and see what comes out.
Yes.
So from the bush, there came out a partner,
yes,
a visionary founder, maybe co-founder, and that is how you intend to also go large. Like if you want to market to other countries, neighboring countries, I believe that this is still the first of its kind within like a range of startups. And very interesting with very interesting use cases.